Hi there everyone, I'm Jennifer, this is A Country Life, and today I have for you guys a Sunday prep video, and I'm pretty sure all of the prep is going to revolve around garden produce. Sam and Peter and Maria, we all went down to the garden here. It's like kind of like the afternoon, it's around noon or something like that. We had church this morning, and anyway, so we went down to the garden to start picking because I just knew that it was going to be tomato time. So I don't know. I mean, some of these tomatoes obviously are already ready to be processed. Some of them are still just a little bit what I would consider on the like green side, or you know, a little bit too orange, like especially these over here are a little bit lighter. But I am just going to at least bring these in. Maybe I won't get to these today, but maybe it'll be a tomorrow project to start. Well, no, I'm counting up, and I know I could get easily 9 pounds, which is what I need for one batch of salsa. Here are the jalapenos. This would be enough to do like 100 batches of salsa because it's only like 1.5 cups of jalapenos to a batch. The other, like last weekend, I think I picked about 3 pounds of jalapenos and made that into cowboy candy. I can put a link in the description box below if you're interested in seeing how that went. It went well. Okay, I did have some broccoli, so I've been just kind of like picking all of the little side shoots, and so I know that's going to fill up a quart-sized bag, so I'm going to get that blanching this afternoon here. Then we had some corn. This is, I think we have one more time that we can go down in the garden and pick corn, and we're probably going to have about maybe 6 ears of corn, and they're going to be much smaller than these. So it's getting to the end, but we've had lots and lots of corn meals, it feels like. These are all green peppers, this entire bushel basket, or whatever this is, a quarter bushel or something. And there are way more. There's probably another one of these down there. So we picked the biggest ones, figuring that then the plant will put some more energy into the like medium and small sized ones and get those sizing up if we got these nice big ripe ones off of the plant. We also we are at the very end of the slicing cucumbers as well. We had a couple, we have one plant that every single cucumber has produced this summer has been like a curved, has like a crook neck like that. And then this one, not looking fabulous, but we'll peel that up and eat it. This one is fabulous. And then Peter picked a few carrots. The carrots are definitely ready. They did not size up the way we would have hoped. They're very thick and very short, very squat. But what we do is just scrub it up and slice it into coins. I may actually boil some for supper tonight, and we'd have some cooked carrots. That might be good. We might go down and pick some more. Okay, so that's how the day is turning out so far. And yeah, I have to just kind of wrap my mind around this a little bit as to what I'm going to do first and how it's all going to go. Okay, you guys hear that? That means Sam's on the dirt bike, probably trying to scare his younger siblings. Is he? I don't know what he's doing. I think he's jumping. Now I got it on camera. I can show Dad, and Dad will get mad at him for spraying up the gravel, right? You better watch out when there's a mom with a camera around. Okay, I'm gonna go in, start getting the kitchen ready, and when I start on something for real, I will turn the camera back on with you guys. Oh, we also collected eggs. Unfortunately, the chickens must have sat or pecked at an egg, and so the whole spot where they had all the eggs had a broken egg, which meant that they all got sticky and the shavings stuck to it. So I got to go in and scrub those up too. And last night Warren took the kids out to the little island. We call it Camp Island. He took Peter and Maria out there. Joe and I went out for the campfire, and then we came in. But he took them out camping, and so we also have to clean up camping supplies today too. And of course, fold laundry. So, and pick up coats. Okay, and. I decided that I wanted to make a batch of salsa, so what I'm going to do, I just washed up all these tomatoes here. These are like the ripest of all of them that we picked. I'm going to puree these. So sometimes I will make a chunky salsa, and other times I do more of like what you might call a restaurant style salsa. It is more of a pureed salsa, and I think today that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do my pureed style salsa. It's the same recipe, just sometimes I cut everything into chunks and leave it nice and big and chunky. I mean, I say meaty, there's no meat, but you know what I mean. And then other times I will puree everything, so it's just like kind of a smooth, I mean, if you've been to kind of a more authentic Mexican restaurant, you'll know that oftentimes the salsa they serve is just, it's like you think there's just tomatoes in it because you don't really see much of anything else. It's just like little tiny bits of everything. So that's what I'm going to do today. I do have out my food processor, which has been giving me some troubles lately. It was not working well when I was shredding up zucchini. And then yesterday morning, Warren made potato pancakes, and it was not shredding overly well then either. So I'm not using the shredder attachment. I'll be just using the like whipping blade. So hopefully all goes well, but I'm going to do that. What I need, I thought it was 9 pounds, but it's 9 cups. This little dress that I'm helping Maria put on right now, the girls love to play like prairie, or sometimes they call it Amish or whatever, but just plain prairie girl. I actually wore this to my aunt and uncle's wedding back in, I think it was 1977, if I'm not mistaken. I can already tell that if I do not put on my shoes, my feet are going to ache by the end of the day, so I'll be right back. Oh, look at this, cute. I know that there are a lot of different thoughts on if you should can tomato products with the skin or without. I know that some people feel that it adds a little bit of bitterness. I have not ever found that to be true. I've always canned my salsa using the skins, and I have not ever had any troubles. So that's what I just keep doing. Okay, each of these is just about 9 cups, a little bit more than 9 cups of pureed tomatoes, and so I have 2 batches. It looks like I can do tonight or this afternoon, so I'm going to get going now next on the peppers and the, both peppers, the bell peppers and the jalapenos. So Peter, and did Joe help you at all?
He did 1.
He did 1 cob. Okay, so here's our corn. Looks like really good pollination, like Peter said, except he said there was 1. So that was not so great. So okay, we'll add that to our supper tonight. So for my double batch of salsa, I need 6 cups of bell pepper. I pureed these 2. I mean, not puree, but, you know, just kind of ground them up in my food processor. That's what ground peppers look like, kind of frothy. Peter's back in. What do you got there, bud?
Fire starter.
A fire starter, huh? Mm-hmm. What are you going to do with that?
Well, today we're going to go out to our island called Camp Island, and we're going to have a campfire, and we always put stuff in it to start the fire, to light the wood on fire. And this is just a bunch of stuff that I collected today to start the fire.
Okay.
Got like wood shavings, then dead pine needles, dead leaves, and acorns for the popping sound.
For the popping, huh? All right, awesome. Looking forward to it. So there we go. We'll put all the green peppers in. Next up will be jalapenos. With the jalapenos, I always wear gloves. There was a time when I forgot to wear gloves, and then later in the evening I had rubbed my eyes, and oh, I don't think I was able to sleep that night. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slice these in half. I'm just going to run my finger in there to get out the seeds. That's where a lot of the spiciness is. And then I'm going to continue doing that. I'm going to run these. I'm also going to like pulse these in the food processor a few times. I need to have between 2 and 3 cups of jalapenos for a double batch. Okay, so I'm moving on to something. Why is that crooked? I'm moving on to the onions, and these are the fresh garden onions. They have been curing. There's everything that I peeled off. They had been curing for a few days here, and they are so strong, as you could maybe tell. And now my nose is running too. But what I'm going to do, same thing. Just going to pulse these up until they're nice and finely chopped. Here are the jalapenos in here, as well as, what else do we have in here? The bell peppers and the tomatoes. It's 2:30 in the afternoon. I don't even know when I started this, but I feel like I'm not moving overly quick. Sam came in and wondered if I was watching a sad movie. He's like, what movie was it, Mom? Yeah, it's getting pretty bad. Okay, 3 more onions to go though. And I know you guys probably have 100 tips, and I've tried all kinds of different things. Saltines. You're supposed to like suck on a saltine. That carbohydrate and sugar in there is supposed to help. I don't know. They're strong. My eyes water. Okay, so I just went and took off all my eye makeup because it was just a mess. All the mascara was running from all of the crying of the onions. Anyway, let's look at the salsa. So here is what it looks like right now. This is just vegetables. I'm going to get all of the spices in here though. So let me just grab my recipe. All right, so this is my recipe that I've been using as long as I've been canning, and let's see here. So we are on to vinegar. So I have a double batch. I'm going to put in 1.5 cups of vinegar. I'm going to do, let's see, 3 tablespoons of salt. That seems like, that always sounds like so much, but trust me, it's okay. 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. I'm going to put in sugar. Oh, there we go. I'm going to put in a couple tablespoons of sugar, a couple tablespoons chili powder, a little bit of cumin, some black pepper, and then I'm going to simmer this for a full 2 hours. And you really want this to just reduce down until it's whatever consistency you like your salsa. So if you want it really, really kind of gloppy and thick, then you're going to simmer longer. If you kind of like it a little bit more liquidy, so you could pour it over something like rice, or nachos, and it's a little bit more runny and drippy, then obviously don't simmer it quite so long because you want it more liquidy. So that's it. We're going to get those spices in and get this going so I can keep moving on with the day. All right, all the spices are in, and then that's what the chunk of the salsa is going to look like. So nice and fine. You know, the pieces are just really, really little, and yeah, my family really likes it that way. I have 3 bananas here that are starting to they actually look worse than they feel, but I know that they're still really, really soft. They're going to make perfect banana bread, so I'm going to do that right now. In my normal way, though, you guys know, I'm always out of something. So today I'm out of white sugar, 100% out. So even though this calls for a cup of white sugar, I'm going to go with brown sugar. I have no idea how this is going to work. Normally, I would tell you that this is the best banana bread recipe in the world. I know everybody claims to have one of those, but I really think this one is it. But I don't know because I've never used brown sugar in it before, but we'll see. So I have in here a 1/2 cup of, well, the recipe, you know, it's like an old time recipe. It says a 1/2 cup shortening, part butter. So I just do a 1/4 cup of shortening and a 1/4 cup of butter. I whipped it up really, really well, putting in my 1 cup of brown sugar this time. We're going to beat that very, very well. I know that I've made this recipe on my channel before, but I'll just walk you guys through it. It's 2 eggs, so I'm going to make some sour milk, which is just a little bit of lemon juice, and then some milk. I need 1/4 of a cup, and you can already kind of start to see it curdle a little bit. It's starting to get a little dark outside. We were supposed to get rain this morning. They were calling for like 70 to 80% chance of rain this morning, right about the time that we were going to be at church. And it never did rain. We haven't even gotten any sprinkles. But now it's starting to get a little dark out for 3 o'clock. When you're doing a quick bread recipe like this, it's totally fine to really kind of just beat the heck out of the wet ingredients. But once you start putting in the dry ingredients, you want to just blend it ever so gently, because you don't want to get, you want to keep a tender crumb. And the harder you beat your quick breads and your muffins, the tougher they're going to be. And sometimes they'll kind of get like a peak instead of a nice domed top. So now we're going to have to start being a little bit more gentle with the dough, or the batter. I guess this is more of a batter. I'm going to put in a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Just kind of fluff the flour a little bit. 2 cups of flour. A teaspoon of baking soda. And besides some nuts, that's it. Another quick tip for you is when you're making a quick bread and you know that you're going to be putting add-ins at the end, like chocolate chips or nuts, or maybe the zucchini goes in at the end, or whatever it might be, you don't want to have, you want to like leave some room for mixing. What I mean by that is you don't want to have your quick bread completely mixed and then put in your nuts or your chocolate chips or whatever it might be, because then you might accidentally overmix it and it will tend to get a little bit tougher. So give yourself a little bit, like almost undermix. I do this a lot, my kids don't like that. Just kind of undermix the batter, and then when you put in your nuts, then you'll do like the final mixing and it'll be just right. So that's what it looks like. I did scrape it and I feel like it could go a little, it needs a few more stirs, but I'm going to put the nuts in. And by the time that happens, it'll be just right. I'm going to put the nuts in, and once those are stirred in, it's going to be just right. Okay, so for the nuts, they're kind of like bigger walnut pieces. I just kind of crush those a little bit just in my hands. I used to grind them all up, but both Warren and I prefer when you bite into a piece of quick bread to get a really, really big piece of nut. And I just put in whatever looks good, a 1/2 cup to a cup. This banana bread goes into a slow oven, which is 300 degrees Fahrenheit. And since I'm planning on this being a part of tomorrow's breakfast, I'm just going to make one full-size loaf pan. And that's it. We're going to put this in the oven for a full hour. And okay, so Sam is going to make up some of those. If you guys have ever had like Dots pretzels, they're called. They're like a seasoned buttery pretzel. I mean, they're just so good. So anyway, he's going to make up some of those. And all it is a 1/2 stick of melted butter. Whoops. And then unsalted. So get the butter that's in like the blue container in there, okay? So he's going to melt up a 1/2 stick of butter. This is 1 packet of ranch seasoning, and then we're going to put in a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, as well as a 1/2 teaspoon of dill. And then what we're going to do is just mix that all up, and we are going to put about a pound. This is 1 pound 6 ounces, and we have eaten a couple out of here. And what we're going to do is just put about a pound of these into a bowl, pour that buttery mixture over it, and really that is, then we'll put them in the oven for at 250 degrees for about 30 minutes
30
to
minutes.
45 minutes. And then once they cool, they're just delicious. So we'll like stir these up about every 15 minutes.
I did not realize that I had to wait 30 minutes.
I am blanching some broccoli here that I got from the garden today. I have that in the toaster oven here. It is preheating here. It's got to be up to 250 degrees for 30 to 45 minutes. We'll shake it around every now and then. Still have zucchini hanging around. Broccoli, I'm going to get that into the freezer now. So one thing to remember when you're doing broccoli is that you do need to soak it in icy cold water to begin with some vinegar in it, because if you do end up with the little like cabbage worms, that vinegar water will kill them, and then they will sink down to the bottom, and you will scoop out your broccoli and then blanch it and have nice clean broccoli. Now today was the first time, and I had 4 little cabbage worms that sunk down to the bottom, so then I just went over each broccoli floret and just really gave it a good a good looking over. But so far this year, I hadn't had a single one of those little cabbage worms, and I was kind of thinking it was because I used that weed guard fabric this year, and I thought maybe without having like the exposed ground, that maybe that helped to keep the worms down. I also I just didn't have a lot of bug pressure down there at all this year. One thing I did notice though, last time I picked broccoli, like probably 2 weeks ago or something like that. I feel like it was that long ago already. There were a bunch of the little cabbage moths flying around. I hadn't seen any of those all summer, so maybe that's why now I have the cabbage worms, because they were probably out there laying eggs, and here we are a couple weeks later, and you know, that's what happens. It's 4:15 right now, and I got some stuff ready for supper here. I have a whole bunch of just like vegetables cut up, and I'm going to make kind of like a stir fry with this turkey sausage. I made it just the other day, but I still had another one of these packets in the freezer, so I brought it out before. So it's just kind of sitting here thawing right now. I have extra pureed onions, so I'm going to saute up the onions with that sausage, as well as all of these vegetables. Here I have green pepper, a few little onion slices from last night's supper left over, some zucchini sliced, some carrots here sliced. I think I'm going to cut those smaller. And then I also have some broccoli from one of the other times that I picked. We are still not getting that rain that they keep calling for. It is feeling a little bit humid out here though. I thought maybe you guys would want to go with me to take the scrap bucket to the chickens, because obviously because I have a lot of scraps here today. I hear them out on the island just a little bit. I can hear kids' voices chit-chatting out there. Warren took them out there to do a fire. Hey ladies, how are you today? All 5 of them. Well, let's see what they go for first. Ooh, they went for an old bun. Looks like they're fighting over an old bun. They like the seeds. Uh-huh. You're picking something there. Golden cookie. What are you picking at, huh? Oh, you're picking, oh, I see. She's picking at all of the green pepper seeds. Well, whatever's going on over here. Ooh, there was a fight. All it is a scrap from an onion. Oh, blackberry took off. With the salsa, you can see the line of where it was, and that's always kind of a good thing. I try not to I try to remember to not scrape that off when I'm stirring, because that helps me to see how far it has cooked down and how much further I have left to go. Sometimes I save the dill pickle juice for making a pot roast or a venison roast, you know, like shredded meat like that, because there is a restaurant in Stevens Point. It's called Bill's Pizza. And anyway, they make what they call is Bill's hot beef. And the rumor has it that how they get it to taste so good is that they use the dill pickle juice. Now, my uncle would always take an entire quart of dill pickles, puree the whole thing, so the juice and the pickles, and pour that right in with like a venison neck roast or something. But this is actually 2 jars that I had combined of pickle juice. I'm going to pour that over this pot roast here, right into the crock pot. I'm going to get my crock pot out down there, and I'm going to pour it right into there, and then just put the crock pot base, not the base, but the liner, you know, the stoneware part. I'm just going to put it in the fridge, and I'm going to let that naturally thaw over the next couple of days, and then I'm going to make a roast with probably like some roasted potatoes and things like that. So I was looking around, and this is what I ran across for venison. I still have, this is a pack of butterfly steak, and this is 1 pound of stew meat, so not a whole lot of meat. This is probably 1 pound too. But this week we'll just, you know, maybe one night I'll have to make both of these, or maybe I'll cube this up and then make a stew out of the steak and that, although everybody loves steak so much. I'm not sure. I'm just going to put these in here to thaw. I'm going to put those in the fridge, and then as the week goes on, we will decide what we're going to do with that. And I know that I've said this to you guys before, but one thing with Sunday prep is that it doesn't always have to be full meals that you have prepped. Sometimes it's just the thought in your mind that you have some ideas for the week, as well as getting meat thawed, because yes, because as you know, like, if you are a meat eater and your family likes meat, that becomes kind of the center of the meal. And if you don't have that ready to go, it makes supper time just that much more tricky to figure out. Then you end up getting maybe takeout if you live in an area where you're close enough to that, or you find yourself just having pizzas or corn dogs. And after so many nights of that, it does get old. Okay, this is going to be tonight's supper. It's just turkey sausage, stir fry. I'm going to put in a little bit of garlic here yet, but that's going to be it for seasonings tonight. And then we're going to have that corn on the cob that's back there. And then here's the pretzels. They're out, and they are very, very yummy. So we'll probably just snack on those as well. And that is going to be supper here tonight. Okay, so that's the process of jarring up the salsa, and I ended up with 8 pints and a half pint. So I think that that was pretty good. Typically, I feel like I get anywhere from 4 to 5 per batch. So yeah, that would be anywhere from 8 to 10 for a double batch. I will bring the water back up to a hard boil, and then I will turn it on for 10 or 15 minutes. I have to check. I think it's 15 minutes for pints, and then I will turn it down because I just want it to gently boil for 15 minutes. So one thing with canning is that it is both an art and a science. There is very strong science that has to be followed in order to have a safe product. However, there also is an art to it as well. And I have found that over the years, there are lots and lots of different ways to can. The best way to begin learning how to can, sorry, Peter's watching a thing on dolphins right now and it's a little bit loud, but really the best way to learn how to can is to go to your extension office of your state, or to get like a Ball Blue Book or a Kerr book on canning, and those or you can go to like USDA canning guidelines as well. There's a lot of information, but you do want to make sure that it is good, well researched information and not just some random YouTuber here, okay? I mean, I've been doing this and we've always been safe and everything, but you do always want to double check for yourself and make sure that you understand for your elevation, because things do change based on elevation, and there's a difference between canning high acid and low acid foods. Salsa is a very high acid food, so you can can it in a boiling water bath canner. However, like something like green beans or potatoes, those all have to be pressure canned because they're very low acid. So just be sure that before you embark on any canning journey that you definitely do some reading and do your research first, okay? Okay, so time is up. There's that nice gentle boil I told you about. I'm just turning it off. Gonna lift these out. I do have to grab a couple of, I guess I don't need that anymore. I do need to grab a couple towels because I'm gonna put a double thickness of towels down. Guess I can move. I'm done with that. And with that, I am going to say goodnight to you guys. It is now it is 7:45, and yeah, I just have to do a couple other things here tonight. That's a little bit close. Just have to do a couple other things here tonight, and it's time to just kind of relax a little bit before bed. And I will be back with you all tomorrow because we have more canning to do. We're going to be doing jalapenos, just sliced jalapenos. We're also going to chop that entire bushel basket of green peppers because I only used maybe 10 or so today between the salsa and supper. So we're going to dice that whole thing up and we're going to get that into the freezer. And then what else are we going to do? Oh, I have to also clip back the stems on all my onions that are out there so those can continue to cure. And there's jalapenos and peppers, and the tomatoes we're just going to continue to let them ripen. I think they need to be out there for a couple days, and we may actually dump out the potatoes as well. So I was thinking I was going to dump the potatoes out maybe one of the days this week and do a day in the life vlog for you guys, but I think tomorrow is going to be the day. I'm just feeling it that's what needs to happen tomorrow. We need to take care of the potatoes.